at Atomas Plaza off of Truxell to use Wi-Fi to research from the Yellow Pages the telephone number to the particular Panera Bread location. I intended to call to ask if a backpack was placed in a lost and found, which was what I was trying to ask the lone employee inside, allegedly alone, aforementioned, when I was, for a short brief amount of time, trying to get her attention at the window when the door was locked. I then called, and the allegedly lone employee answered the phone, and she, during the conversation, claimed that she was a baker that worked an evening shift after everybody else that were clerks and so forth during business hours had left. She was immediately hostile, assuming that it was myself that was there before, and screaming that she had called the cops, being really irrational, and kept interrupting and interfering with my communications to her, asking if my backpack was in lost and found. Still argumentative and attitudinal, she did give information that, whether it is true or not, that there was a lost and found in the office, but the office was locked at the time because everybody was gone. She repeated over again, screaming that she had called the police, which was irrational because there were no acts meeting any crimes at the location by anyone, let alone myself. I'll have to rephrase that. There was a theft. But other than that, with what she was talking about, my presence there at the location, specifically referring to that, there was no crime. I committed no acts meeting any elements of any crimes, trying to get her attention at the window to ask if she had my backpack and lost and found because I saw an employee inside, the doors were locked. And then traversing to Starbucks to look up the number and call. To check with a lost and found. Oi. Stop. I traversed back to it from Starbucks. It was approximately 9 o'clock. I came by and, look, man, my right not to implicate or accuse or incriminate. By my rightful intent to look for my own property again. Quit accusing like that. You. Two, look, with the intent by right that you can't implicate or incriminate. My fundamental right to look for my own property. Got here approximately 9 o'clock. I looked in a dumpster, the one that was beside the building over there. I came up this sidewalk and looked in a dumpster over there, went through the parking lot around there, looked in a dumpster that's over in that area, came back, went back down this sidewalk to right here, walked through here with the purpose of looking for my own property. Not committing any acts meeting elements of a crime, and it'd be a fundamental right to look for my own property on public property. Came around here, and the officer sped up and jerked to a stop just right over there, and came out with a disrespectful, maliciously predisposed freaking attitude. Really attitudinal Mormon was one of them. After leaving the scene, after the frivolous, inappropriate questioning, I walked over to Barnes & Noble to look for my glasses case that I know that I left on a ledge over there. Oh, I forgot that I had even mentioned to the police officer another reason for returning from Starbucks was to pick up my reading glasses that I left on the table and to look for my backpack. And I left my reading glasses case over at Barnes & Noble in the tree pot over there. So I picked up my glasses, looked for my backpack some more, went around the back, came around the front after looking in a dumpster on the other side over there. Got stopped. Questioning ended. I walked over there to get my reading glasses case that I knew that I left over there. The officers began to leave and exited into that drive over there and then drove around. I was prejudicially denied law enforcement protection again when I wanted to reinitiate discussion that was obstructed by an abrupt ignoring of any further exculpatory or other questions by walking away to enter into the Panera Bread by so-called Officer Mormon. They were circling around here, and I began flagging them down to talk about my lost backpack that was just totally ignored during our conversation. The issue of my lost backpack, and I wanted to reinitiate discussion with them about helping me find my lost backpack. They just waved at me while I was waving them down and continued driving through the exit of the shopping center over here. I continued, frustrated that I was prejudiced again by obstruction of any further law enforcement protection discussion with them with reference to my stolen backpack. They just ignored my matter to the street. If I could find out here to the street. Now they came out the exit of the shopping center on this Gateway Park, street crossing here. I started waving them down again. They just waved at me, blatantly ignoring me and obstructing any further service of law enforcement on my behalf and my interest, prejudicing me. Turning left here to go back. Now, in the amount of time it takes, because you go through nowadays with all of the procedural harassment mechanically, specifically, it's centrally targeting me in this conspiracy. Actually, 3 times for it to go through cycles before there's a pedestrian light whenever you push a pedestrian light button. Now, it took within the amount of time for me to wait for 3 cycles to change before there's a pedestrian light, for them to return from the Panera Bread location again for more business at that, since I had left, and returning to it knowing that I had left for more matters to discuss without my witness, when they know that I had freaking walked away a distance without being a witness to whatever further business they had with people at the locality, at the Panera Bread and Target in the shopping center. But within the amount of time it took for me to wait for a pedestrian light, they returned again right here. I tried to wave them down again, and he just waved at me and said, "I'm sorry," and then turned left, depriving me any attention of law enforcement like it is always done, just totally neglecting me, and about my stolen backpack, which he knew is what I wanted to talk to him about, and it is what they went back to return, because they were all involved with stealing my backpack, and in collusion with the security team of the company of Target, with a so-called Officer Summerett from West Sacramento involved.